What up, Huck Squad? In today's video, I'm going to be bringing you a pretty cool video in my opinion, and I took all the courses that I've ever filmed on the vlog, and I wrote down my favorite holes from each one, and it was probably like 2 to 4 holes per course. And then I wrote holes 1 through 18 down, and I kind of filtered through my favorite holes on all the courses I've played, and I filled in like this 18-hole layout. So in today's video, I'm just putting together an 18-hole layout, kind of like my dream layout from every course that I've filmed. And what I did for tiebreakers was, it wouldn't necessarily be what was the better hole, it would be what hole would I want to play over and over and over again if this was the only course that I could play for the rest of my life. So some of the decisions that I made to put holes in the video here aren't based on the hole being better, it's just being more suited to something that I would want to play over and over, and it is still a fun hole. So I'm gonna try to do this all in one take on this kind of side camera. So if I fumble over my words or if I kind of like lose my train of thought, then don't make fun of me in the comment section. But it should be a pretty cool video, and I've never done anything like this before, and I'm also doing a giveaway at some point in this video, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And yeah, might as well just jump right into it and get started. So here we are on hole 1, I'm gonna start it now. And this is hole 1 at Tully Lake. And one of the reasons why I like this hole so much is just because for my game, you can backhand what you see here, or you can flick over the left side all the way over the water and have it come back. And it's a pretty simple, straightforward par 3 to start. And judging by, look at how beautiful this landscape looks, it's just unbelievable. And luckily I was able to put this one in for bird, so that's a great start. But I love that first hole at Tully. Moving to hole 2, this is the hole 2 at Buffinville Dam Disc Golf Course, and all those rocks that you see on the left side are out of bounds. So I always throw my putter or maybe throw a flick off the tee here so that I finish right or finish straight. Second shot here, it is a par 4, it's probably like 600 feet. And as you see, I swing it all the way over the rocks, and luckily it hits off one of the rocks and stays in bounds for me, which was really cool. And here's the third shot, and looking back on the fairway, you can see how much of that riprap really takes up the fairway. And it's so common to land in there on a backhand hyzer drive. Here we are at hole 3, coming from Berry Falls Disc Golf Course. For me, it depends on how my game is at the time, but here you see me throw a big flick. Obviously, you can throw a big backhand too, just for big distance, but it is a par 4, and the basket is kind of tucked into this little section of woods that you see me forehanding into here. I think that was my MD5. I don't bag that one anymore, but it's an awesome par 4, pretty wide open, pretty straightforward second shot. If you don't have a flick, it might be a little bit tricky, but with my flick, it helps a lot. Here we have hole 4, coming from the amazing Pineland Farms up in Maine, and I bet a lot of people who have played this course or hole will probably say that this is like their favorite hole ever. Yeah, it's such a beautiful disc golf hole, wide open drive, you can get as much distance as you want, and then this upshot is no cakewalk. It's a pretty touchy upshot, and obviously the basket's on the tip top of the hill, so every single angle that you have is going to be some sort of a death putt. You couldn't really see that purple FD3 flying through the air, but it did land right on the front side of the hill there, and I was pretty happy with this upshot. Probably about a 25, 28 footer, little deathy on the backside. Yep. Knock her home. It was a great putt. I was really happy with that birdie. Heading into hole 5, which is maybe my favorite hole at my local course of Borderland State Park. And any locals who are watching this video are gonna like strangle me when they hear that, but it's just one of my favorite holes. It's a pretty straightforward par 4, kind of a tweener. As you see, my drive here on a really good drive lands like, I don't know, 60 or 70 feet out, so maybe locally it's a par 4, but I'll shout out to Coop there. I threw this in the video just because he had a cool like flick putt to put it in, but got my 3, got my birdie, and as a local I like it being a par 4, but if the pros ever came out, I think it would easily be a par 3. Here we are at hole 6 up at Jay Peak Mountain Resort course. It might have changed since now, I think this was filmed in 2017, but it's such a unique hole. I've never played really any sort of hole like this. This was my old KC Pro Rock. I bag a KC Pro Rock right now, but I don't have this one anymore.
So far, nice and straight.
And look how cool this hole is. It's like,
this huge
I know, it sits under, I know, it sits underneath this huge high tension wire. And it was just so unique. I've never played a hole like that before, so putting this hole into the video was just a no-brainer. And if this was my dream course and I had to play it over and over again, this would be a hole that I look forward to every time. It's just so cool. Hole 7 coming from Fox Run. I'm sure if any of you guys watch the Green Mountain Championships, you see all the top pros shredding this hole. It's 1,200 freaking feet, so it is no joke.
That's a fine lap zone.
It takes 4 great shots, or 3 great shots to even give you a look like inside circle 2. Here's my second shot. I'm flicking my destroyer again.
That could be fine.
Pretty hard. I didn't commit to going over the gap on my drive. It's just really hard. It's like 450 feet and you have a bunch of out of bounds. So I laid up early and I tried to kind of flick myself again. This flick I was pretty upset about, honestly. If you go back and watch the video, this was one of my worst flicks, this third shot on hole 7. It was my Enigma. I hadn't flicked it much and it just pretty much went right into the ground. It didn't stable up as much as I thought. So now I'm throwing 4 from like 350 out. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm probably gonna bogey this.
Keep going.
And I have a really good shot with my S-Line FD right there.
Just kind of worried about that
pretty much
shot,
put it as close as you
shot.
can get it without tapping the pole. And just look how beautiful this landscape is. It's Fox Run is one of my favorite courses. Look at the mountains in the background and just how beautiful that backdrop is.
Or par.
And I'm happy with that 5.
I really can't believe that freaking Only Best 3 this.
I know. If you guys go back and watch that skins match that they posted. Oh, I remember this during this Maple episode. I loved seeing that great blue heron fly over. It was like raining. It was so cool. It was so serene. Here we are at hole 8 from the gold layout at Maple Hill. I'm sure many of you have seen this hole before. Flicking my C-Line FD3. What does it say? 320 feet, and kind of gave it like a little bit of an ace run. So hole 8 at Maple Hill is just such an iconic hole. I'm sure a lot of you guys have seen it before. And we do end up tapping her in for bird. And we end up doing the little star frame shake of the basket, which is pretty cool.
Look at this. 340, I'd say, to get over the water. Maybe like 300.
Yeah, hole 9 at Buffinville is still my all-time favorite hole of all time. All-time of all time.
Beautiful hole. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, I couldn't say it any better than the in-video Noah there, but it is just a beautiful hole. And you're hoping for no headwind. Tailwind is honestly beneficial because then you can throw something flippier. I don't know if it said my disc right there, but I think it was a PD2. And for any of you OGs who watch the channel forever, that clip right there will probably trigger a little something in your brain. And I just made it over the water, but that was the intro clip that I used on my intro for like, I don't even know, 50 episodes. I had to throw this in too, because my buddy Jake threw his drive, and it turned over just a little bit too much. But it was close enough to the shore where he was able to get it, so I'm sure anyone who's played Buff before has seen that before. Oh, this shot.
Oh, see ya.
That was with my old P-Line PD, and it was a great disc. It was pretty neutral, pretty straight flying, and the headwind was just ripping towards me, and my feet were going uphill, and the disc came out flat, if anything, on a little Annie, and it just went like 70 feet into the water. And as you can see here, I pretty much missed the framing on my third shot, or it would technically be my 4th shot now that I went OB. But I don't think I've ever went out of bounds on my 2nd shot on hole 9 at Buff. And oh, I remember this putt being pretty scary because the wind was ripping. It's still only like an 18 or 20 foot putt, but I'm glad that I put that one home for bogey and didn't have to suffer with a double bogey. Here we are at hole 10 of Clement Farms disc golf course, and it is a downhill like 430, like right around the mid 400s. And I used to throw this orange G-Line FD, and it was so flippy. As you see, I threw it on the left side of the fairway, and it just held the whole way, glided all the way back down, and got me all the way to like Circle's Edge, which was great. Line this one up. A little bit more hyzer than I would like, but I smashed it and I was super happy with that. Getting a birdie on hole 10 at Clement Farm is no easy feat. Such a great shot, one of my favorite holes. Here we are at hole 11, Rockwell Park. And Rockwell Disc Golf Park, whatever you want to call it, it's up there with Buffinville. Like, Rockwell might even be my favorite course ever. I love so many of the different holes that come out of Rockwell. Wow, someone's calling me. And I'm doing this in one take, so I'm so sorry about that. I'm gonna hang up. And this is just like a difficult par 4. It's like I wanted to put this in my dream layout because it's a really gettable par 4. I think I do end up getting it here. Sorry for the little spoiler right before I putt. It was a good putt. I've played there maybe 4 or 5 times since then, and I've never 3'd it since. And the locals I talk to will say it's the hardest hole on the course. So as a tough par 4, I like to throw it right into the middle. Oh, you guys are about to see me get like so giddy with excitement during this video. there's an aviary at Wickham Park in between holes 11 and 12, and so that's where I put it in the video here. If it was my dream layout, I would love to have this aviary in between holes 11 and 12. And I just love birds, and I just thought it was so cool that they had like this little zoo slash aviary like right in the middle of the course, like smack dab right in between hole 11 and 12. You can't miss it.
I'm just in awe. This is so sick. Like, look at this one.
When I was putting this video together, I was laughing so much just watching over these clips of me like going crazy in this aviary. It was so funny.
This is amazing. Look at this.
I loved that white one when he like frayed all of his feathers out. It looked so cool.
And that's all she wrote for the aviary, but man, was that a cool stop.
I love that so much. Heading into hole 12 here at 501 Disc Golf Course. Anyone who's played 501, hole 12, definitely the signature hole. Everyone will know about it. The rock wall runs OB the whole way on the left side, and it is always in play. Anyone who stables out just a little bit too much on your drive is going to go OB. And I left myself actually a really good window here for my putter upshot. Turned it over a little bit more than I would have liked, but still gave myself a good look for a bird. And as you can see, there's a line on that rock wall. Oh, I fluffed that putt so much. But there's a out of bounds line like 4 feet behind the basket. I didn't want to go OB and take a 5. Here we are at hole 13, Salmon Falls. As you can see, I throw my drive on more anhyzer than it should ever be thrown on. I should just hyzer it in. And here we go to the drop zone. And once again, a beautiful shot. Not that great of a shot. I didn't play this hole that well in the episode that I filmed at Salmon Falls, but it is totally my favorite hole 13 that I've ever filmed. It's just beautiful. It's got the water. It's got a pretty straightforward flick shot. And I just wasn't having a good day this day. If you guys go back and watch the Salmon Falls episode, my buddy Ted bests me in match play in this episode, and I just couldn't get anything going. Here we are from where my drop shot landed. Didn't really give it much of an effort, but still a really cool hole 13 with the water, with the drop zone, and with the kind of whole dynamic of the hole. Here we all are at hole 14 of Clement Farm as well, and this was during my lefty stint, and that was a really good shot. That was probably one of my best shots during this episode. And so this being the second hole that I featured from Clement Farm is a really great course with a lot of cool holes. And I just had to add this clip in because it was more entertaining than my putt, and just got to give Marky a little shout out.
Yeah, dude.
Nice putt, Marky.
That was so sick.
And I just love the way that the footage is cut in half for that clip. Really cool. Anyone who plays Clement Farm, hole 14 is just a nice straightforward par 3, and as you can see, the basket's like all the way up on this like 20-30 foot hill, so when you're teeing off, you're kind of like looking at it like eye level or a little bit higher. It's a really cool par 3, so it'd be a nice birdie to get. Here we are at hole 15, West Thompson, pretty much a wide open par 4. If you get your drive, this was my old school Champion Colossus. This used to be my bomber like 2 years ago. And that might have been the furthest drive I've ever had on this hole. Leaves myself with an easy up and down. This used to be my Jawbreaker APX from Discraft. I don't bag it anymore, but it was super straight. And yeah, it's a relatively straightforward par 4. If your drive is off the line a little bit left or right, it does make the upshot a little harder, but you always want to have a par 4 that's pretty easy to get the birdie on. Here we are coming from hole 16, Jay Park in New York. For some reason, this hole is just so mesmerizing. There's like rocks everywhere. Obviously, in this episode, there was a lot of snow, but I remember walking up to this hole and just being like, holy crap, this hole is so cool. Kind of walking you to the basket here. I'll look back down the fairway, and Marky's just standing on top of a rock like 100 feet away. This is a really cool hole. And I give it, I give it a nice air ball. And here's my guy Mahoney throwing a snowball down. I don't know why I kept this part in the video. I just thought it was funny. Here we are at hole 17, Borderland State Park, my home course, arguably the signature hole.
Oh,
and my reaction was a little worse than the shot actually was. The shot was actually pretty good, but I just love looking at that mansion, and since it's my home course, every time I go, I almost take a picture every single time I'm at that tee pad. It's just so beautiful. As you can see, my drive landed in a pretty decent spot, and I had a great upshot with my P3X there, nice and flat, and it just kind of faded perfectly for me at the end. And getting a 3 on this one is really good. It is a par 4, and it's a tough 3 to get. And lastly, hole 18 here at Rockwell State, not State Park, sorry, here at Rockwell Park. This is during a doubles match that I filmed with my friend Rivas. So I think the next shot here you might see Rivas throw an upshot here. So this was during a doubles round, but hole 18 here at Rockwell is the hardest hole 18 that I've ever played in my life. This is where Jake accidentally cuts the clip, so the clip was already running and he thought he had to start it and he stops it actually. So here's Rivas' third shot. You have to make it over the little creek right there. The creek is out of bounds, the road is out of bounds, there's another creek on the right side that's out of bounds. I played a tournament here last year in the Firefly Open, and this hole is so hard. I think I went 4 in the first round, 7 in the second round, and 6 in the third round. And honestly, the way that it was averaging, it could easily be a par 5. Nobody was getting 3. And so that was it. That's my dream layout, and now we're moving into the honorable mentions. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this hole before. Hole 1, Maple Hill. This one's from the white/blue tee pad. The gold tee pad is much more up the hill to the left. I don't really have any great footage from the gold tee pad, so I threw this one in, but I love that first hole at Maple Hill. Another hole coming from Rockwell Park is the castle hole, hole 4. They did a ton of work building this castle, so I had to show them some respect in the video, and it's just a freaking really cool hole.
I'm on the beach.
If you watch the actual video, this episode, I think it's like episode 86 or 87, I was just like giddy with excitement when I walked up to this hole. I was like, there's a freaking castle hole! Like, it was just so funny. Here we are at hole 6 from Rockwell. So as you see, I've already featured like 3 or 4 holes from Rockwell. Hole 6 here at Rockwell is arguably the best hole in Connecticut. A lot of Connecticut people will say that it's the best hole in Connecticut. 740-foot par 4. That shot was great. I left it a little left and low, but it kind of swung itself into the middle. And then my upshot was with a putter, but it was just because I needed to throw it nice and straight. And it goes down this valley and then back up to the top of the hill. It is just a beautiful hole, and I was super happy with how I played it in that episode.
You can see the basket there in the distance.
Here we have hole 6 at
Coggeshall,
which is up in Fitchburg, Mass. And once again, a huge, like even bigger than the last one, huge valley that goes up another hill, and then it's like a 100-foot platform that brings you from the corner of the hill all the way to the basket. So literally, if you hit anything in the first like 250 feet, both of those shots were great. I was super happy with both of those. But if you hit any of those trees on the left or right and you kick like either which way, like any sort of distance, you're automatically pretty much taking a bogey because it's a par 3. And I remember playing that round. I was like, come on, give it all you got. And just off the top of the basket. This is a really unique hole, so I had to add it to the honorable mentions. It's coming from the 9-hole course, the 9-hole disc golf course down in UMass Dartmouth at the college campus. And that windmill is just, I don't even know how to describe it. It's so beautiful, and that's such a cool final hole for that 9-hole course. Here we are at Flat Rock Disc Golf Course. This is hole 15. Yeah. It's a par 4. I think that was my old champion crate, and I give myself a long look, but as you can see, it goes into slow motion, and I had to put this hole in. This is one of the best moments in the vlog, and it happened in my 9th episode, and I'm now on like 155.
That was unreal, dude.
Me and Ted went out to Flat Rock. Jeez. Everything was filmed handheld. On a phone. We didn't have a tripod. We didn't have anything. Played 3 rounds. We filmed a bunch of it. And I think it's actually my only eagle on the vlog, and it was like a huge skip shot throw-in. Here we are at hole 17, Sunnymead, the barn hole, classic, super signature hole for the course. We played to the longer basket, so if we were playing to the shorter basket, my drive would have been freaking money. But I throw my upshot like 30 feet to the right of the long basket. Luckily, I was able to can the comebacker for par. But that was a really, really brutal upshot. And then here we are at hole 18, coming from Piebrook, which is a really, really cool hole, probably the best hole on the course. And there's a huge pond. The basket's like right on like a 30-foot strip of land. And I put my P3X like circle's edge, and I wasn't having a good round during this round. It was the last hole, so I was like, you're making this putt. And I put it in, so that was awesome. And yeah, that is it for the honorable mentions and for the dream course. So now let me get into the giveaway. I wanted to do the giveaway during the episode, but how fast everything was moving right there, I didn't want to cut it, I didn't want to pause it, I didn't want to do anything. So if you made it this far in the episode, you will be eligible for the giveaway, or maybe you just heard me say it at the beginning and you don't want to watch the episode and you skipped all the way till you see me holding a disc in the air. But I got a Discmania Jackal, which is like I think it's an S-Line FD. And it's a really beautiful disc, but I have a lot of FDs, and this was actually my final Discmania media package for the year. So I threw it a couple times. I think I maybe even threw it like twice. It was a little more stable than I would like, and I'm still trying to beat in my S-Line FD that I have now to be a little bit more flippy. So I'm going to be giving away my final Discmania media package of the year, and it is the Discmania FD, the Jackal. And the requirements to enter the giveaway, I want to put together a Q&A in one of my next videos. I've done a couple Q&As, but it's been a long time since I've done one, and my channel's grown. I've got some new viewers and stuff like that. So if you have any sort of question that you want to ask, it can be about disc golf, it can be about life, it can be about really anything. To enter to get this Jackal, all you need to do is drop a comment with a question so that I can answer it in my Q&A. But I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. I've never done anything like it. I think it came out really cool. I still need to take this clip here and edit and do a bunch of stuff, but I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and it might get your gears turning, and you might want to think about what your own dream layout would be. So, I don't know. I just thought it was a cool idea. And yeah, make sure to enter for the giveaway, make sure to like, make sure to comment, make sure to sub. And I have a lot of plans for 2020, so I hope you guys sub and continue to tune in. So take it easy, guys. I'll see you in the next episode.